Hey guys, I'm just gonna check to see if it's actually running because with this new live strategy, yesterday, I thought it started and it didn't start. So I think right now we're live. We are talking about right now. I'm talking to all of the women who are essentially eating, super clean. They're cutting out sugar, they're cutting out carbs, and the scale is not moving, and why this is the worst strategy possible if weight loss is your goal, which is ironic considering that I'm a nutritionist. So you would think that I would be pushing clean eating, cutting out sugar, and cutting out carbs. But the reality is that in my 7 years of coaching, if there is one thing that I can tell you, for most women, I'm going to say about 95%, for most women, deprivation is death to diets, sustainable dieting, which is why if you are thinking about completely restricting your calories, cutting out carbs, cutting out sugar, cutting out all of these things, you're basically on a path to failure. And I think the biggest indication, so here's how you know if you're following a restricted diet that's not working for you, is if you're one of those women that is eating really good during the day and then you find yourself crashing in the evening and binging on all the things. If you do really well during the week and come the weekend, it's a free for all. This is definitely an indication that your diet is not working for you and it's actually working against you, meaning that it's too restrictive. And what I mean by too restrictive is if you can't have a glass of wine, if you can't enjoy, a burger right now on the barbecue, if you are unable to do those things, then this diet is not for you. And here's what essentially happens. So when you're following these restricted diets that are, cutting out sugar and cutting out carbs and, really and by restricting their calories, I mean, if you were eating less than 1400 calories, mamas, that like you're falling into this bubble for me. If you are one of these women, essentially what's happening is the more that you restrict your diet, basically, and the more, so let's start off again. Sorry. The more that you restrict your diet, and then the more that you have these binge sessions, what essentially happens is your metabolism's going like this all the time. And so and our bodies love normalcy. Like normalcy and consistency is probably the number one thing that you should be giving your body right now if weight loss is your goal. Because here's what this does. Going like this, so if you deprive during the week and then you binge on the weekend and then you deprive during the week again, you're confusing your metabolism. If you're starving yourself all day and eating really, really, lean and healthy and eating like a rabbit, and then in the evenings you're binging on wine and chocolate and all the things while you're watching Netflix, again, your metabolism's doing this. And so it doesn't necessarily know whether it's going to use the food for fuel or it's storing it as fat. And so you get caught in this cycle. And I think it's the most challenging thing is with the weight loss industry is it leads us to believe that this is the only way to lose weight, that if we are going to lose these 20, 30, 40 pounds, that we have to cut this stuff out. And so essentially what this does is it basically puts you in a position where you feel like you are the failure, where you feel like you're unable to do this. When in reality, it's just that these diets are basically setting you up to fail. And so, the solution to this problem, if this is something that you identify with, and for those of you who do, I mean, throw up a like or whatever, like if this is something that you identify with, the solution is really, really easy. All you want to do, and there's basically three things that I would say if you find that you're stuck in this diet. First of all, you want to find a diet that's actually giving you the flexibility that you need so that you can have a glass of wine, that you can have a burger, that you can have chocolate if you want, and not stress about it and stay on track. But in order to basically speed up your metabolism and get it firing all the time so that you can have these things and they're not going to set you back, is you want to eat, and I keep talking about this, guys, 3 meals a day. 3 meals a day, roughly around the same time. The next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you're getting in the right combinations of food, meaning you want to make sure that you're getting in lean quality protein, good complex carbohydrates, really healthy fats, and a ton of fiber, which is basically veggies. Load up on the fiber because let me tell you right now, if you want a healthy gut that's going to digest all the food and use it for fuel, so that your body so it can use basically the food optimally. I can't even speak today. Fiber is the key to do it. because it's going to be feeding all those good gut hormones, which is going to just bump up your metabolism. So that's what I would say. 3 meals a day, focus on getting the right food combinations in. And lastly, you want to make sure that you're eating enough. Meaning, if you are eating under 1,400 calories, I mean, girl, there's really, unless you're weighing 100 pounds, nobody should be eating that little amount of food. It's just unnatural for you in your to help your body function and fuel properly. And so ultimately, it's going to be holding on to that weight long term. So, what I would say is if you struggle to know how much to eat, we talk about this all the time. Like for my clients in the Nourish System, we use the visual portion control method because a lot of moms don't have time to track and weigh their food on an app, and they don't want to count points all day, and they don't want to have to, use the little measuring containers and stuff like that a lot of these programs are giving out. You want to be able to sit down and eat a meal and know exactly, like within seconds, how much to eat and what to eat. That's all we basically have time for. And so I think ultimately those are the three things that I would want you to focus on. And by doing that, by focusing on those three things, you are going to skyrocket your metabolism. And over the course of a couple weeks, you're going to get to that baseline level where your body's going to be functioning optimally, where the weight's going to start to come off. And I think more than that, you're also going to be having a lot more energy because, again, if you're depriving yourself during the day and you're not getting a lot of food and you're exhausted in the afternoon and looking for snacks, like, guys, it just makes sense. Follow the course of your habits. If you're starving at the end of the day, you know that you're not eating, or if you're binging out at the end of the day, you know that you're not eating enough, or you have that restrictive sort of mentality around food where, I was good all day, and so I'm going to be a little bit bad. And so I think, or if you're doing really, really well during the week, and then you're binging on the weekend, then if your go-to sort of response to the weekends and to the evenings is binging, you already know, guys, that your diet isn't solving this problem because otherwise you wouldn't feel the need to binge. Because I can tell you right now, as somebody who eats ice cream almost every day, who has chocolate all the time, and loves a good glass of Cab Sav, I don't give anything up. And because I also don't binge on these things because I know that they're available to me all the time. I know that I can have a glass of wine and not sweat about it. And so I think it's sort of using these three tips and tools that I'm giving you and working within that mindset of like, if my diet doesn't allow me to have the things that I love, is this actually working for me? Is this actually something that's sustainable? Because if it's not, you're going to be resetting again. You're going to be the girl that says, back on track on Monday, and nobody wants to be that girl. We want to be the girl that stays consistent all the time, fueling our bodies and feeling incredible. Anyways, guys, I hope you found this helpful. So just to recap, the three big tips, if you want to be able to have sustainable long-term weight loss and actually see the scale start to move, eat 3 meals a day. Make sure that they contain protein, carbohydrate, fat, fiber, all of those, and make sure that you're eating enough. So if you know that you're eating, sub 1,400 calories, girl, you gotta eat some more food, which, let's be honest, is not a bad thing. Anyways, guys, I'm going to jump off. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you're having a lovely week, and I will see you all soon.